Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, put your sleeves up. It's War 2.0. The European Super League is back, ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to talk about this now. I am waiting, right, because last time we saw what happened. Right, and luckily we managed to be vocal. Everyone managed to be vocal. Big protests all across the board. Well, at least in this country, can I just say? Some of the other countries were quite silent, but here there was enough action that took place, especially outside of Stamford Bridge, in order for fans to attend a massive protest and for English clubs to start pulling out one by one. Chelsea, Man City, and then the rest followed. There are still 3 clubs signed up to the project till now. Real Madrid, Barcelona and Juventus. Right now, I'm happy that 2 of them are in financial turmoil and are struggling and are heading to the Europa League. That's great to hear, although it's probably going to want to cement their point even more of joining the Super League. Real Madrid, on the other hand, are just happy wherever they go. So, it is what it is. But we knew this day would come. And I said it, everyone else said it, all of you in the comments have said it, we've all said it, all of us knew that once we were successful at that time, back then, when the ESL got defeated, right, and everyone decided to back out and we'd won, we said, they're coming back. Don't think this is permanent. They're going to try and rehash everything and they're going to come back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that day is finally here. The ESL has been presented once again, except this time you can see they are treading on eggshells and they're trying to look a little bit more friendly. And they've got a brand new image and a brand new sports company that's decided to take charge of this, and a brand new CEO who was in charge of RTL in Germany, the TV station, and all sorts. And there's a nice little video which we're going to watch because we got to break things down. Now, I want to be open-minded, because the way that it was presented back when it was the first time, trying to replace domestic football, trying to shatter the pyramid, trying to shatter everything that we know football stands for in this country and across Europe, in Spain, in Germany, in Italy, in France, everywhere, right? We were protesting against that. We were protesting against the fact that they wanted to take all the big clubs, stick them in some league, take them away from their domestic leagues, their domestic competitions, basically remove them from their countries, and then create this sort of weird European/global own Super League that's only within itself and no one else can get in, and it's just them and everyone's watching them and the rest can die. That was what people were protesting against. Now, I'm willing to hear what this new proposal is, although I've got not just one shield up, I've got about 100 shields up, because I still have a feeling deep within that the intention isn't quite where I want it to be, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to watch and let's see exactly what they have to offer, right? Because as it stands, the ESL new organizer is, check this out, open to talking to English clubs. And they are fully open in the door to Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man United and Spurs, who all backed out of the project, to try and get them to the table to discuss. And even here, they are saying that there's multiple proposals that are on the table in terms of how to take this forward. It doesn't have to be like it was the first time, where it was one thing only and you sign up for it and we're doing it this way and shut up. But they are willing now, apparently, to hear different suggestions, different ideas. Let's see how we can develop this. Let's see how we can promote this. Let's see how we can move football in the right direction, as they are saying, right? Well, okay. For content's sake, let's hear what they have to say. So, I have a video by the new CEO of A22 Sports that are leading this new project, Bernd Reichardt, if that is how you say his name. Apologies if I've mistaken that, Mr. CEO. But I thought, let's watch this together. So let's watch it and break it down. Let's check out what he has to say. So, you guys are going to watch this along with me. I'm going to pause this when I have to, and we will discuss. Let's get into it. Here it is.
European club football is facing existential problems. As a passionate fan and newly appointed CEO of sports promoter A22, I am convinced that football can do better. And I thank you for letting me share some thoughts with you.
He's very polite at first. He wants to thank us that we're giving him some time. Okay, that's nice. You know, at the beginning, no one did that. So it's a start, I guess, isn't it? Not really.
First, European football is losing its undisputed leadership position in global sports. It's not living up to its potential by not offering the best matches week after week.
To who, can I say? Who are we losing to here? If someone's got a suggestion, please. You're going to try and tell me the Super Bowl? No. No. I struggle to see what sport currently performs better than football, and within football, what continent or what part of football performs better than European football. If someone's got a suggestion for me, please bring it to the table. The only thing that can possibly go above European football as it stands is the World Cup. The World Cup basically involves the flipping world, right? Everyone's involved. Everyone's glued in. Everyone's tuned. Cool. But apart from that, you're telling me no one tunes in. Well, not no one, but you're telling me there is something out there that outperforms the UEFA Champions League when it's on, the final, for example? You know, as I've said, the only thing that I can possibly think of that can compete is the Super Bowl, which is one game a year. You know, am I missing something here? Anyway, let's keep listening.
Consequences are massive. The most painful one is, especially younger audiences turn to other entertainment alternatives and watch less live football.
I want to know where this metric has come from, and if this is legit, which I have to be honest here, I think there might be a little case, although I struggle to see how it's a problem. He's saying that we've got to get all these teams, all these good teams, to play week in, week out. That tells me that these clubs are going to be pulled from their domestic leagues. And this is where I have a problem. Now, attention. If this isn't going to be a case where we are pulling these teams out of their domestic leagues and he wants this competition to replace UEFA competition, the Champions League, the Europa League, etc., then we've got something to talk about there. Because UEFA aren't exactly innocent. Let's be honest. Although there's a lot of tradition and there's a lot of culture and there's a lot of years in those competitions that hold its prestige. To try and replace it with something completely new will be a bit soulless at the beginning at least, unless if it's done right. But I don't have it in my gut to trust these guys. You know, because eventually, at first, it might start off as a replacement for European competition. That's it. Keep your domestic leagues. And then later down the line, after everyone signed up, hey, pull out your domestic leagues. Let's do this on our own. I don't want that. That is what everyone was protesting against. So that's where I've got suspicion already. He said every week. These teams playing each other every week. Do you understand what happens when you do something over and over and over and over and over and over again? You know, something big that at first like, whoa, and then you get to it and then you start doing it over and over and over and over and over again. It loses its charm. The only reason why people are glued in to watch Real Madrid against Manchester City, Chelsea against Barcelona. Well, I say Barca, they're in the mud now. But anyway, had to get that digging. But you get all these teams that are playing each other. You know, Bayern Munich, like we've seen in the Champions League, Barca, Bayern Munich, and Inter Milan. Fantastic, right? But that's only because it came by chance. It came by, it's an occasion. It's happening once. After that, that's it. Someone's getting knocked out. Someone's progressing. And that's it. We're not seeing it again. These teams that don't play each other every single week, it's a matchup because they do so well in their domestic competitions, because they are big clubs in their own countries. And then it gives everyone the idea of what happens if we play this team against that team. Oh, well, we've got to match this up. But if you just have these lot playing against each other all the time, it loses everything. It's lost its soul. That's the problem. And if these guys can't get this into their heads, then they don't care about football. That's the whole point. Now, going to young audiences, if we're talking about young audiences are, well, I would say there's a lot of young people now, instead of going out and playing out and, you know, playing football on a regular basis like people my generation when we were kids and before used to, it's because of technology. It's because of PlayStations and Xboxes and this, that and the other and VR and all of that, yeah? You can see where the world's heading in. It's not looking good. But if you really care about football and you want to try and get young people to leave those entertainment sources to go into how it used to be, to go into grassroots, to have an interest into football, which many, many young people are. Look at the academies. They're flooded. Grassroots is flooded. We're not exactly, bleak of talent, that's for sure. But Lower the prices it takes to get into a game. Talk about the spending, which I know he's going to come to, and this is where I might have a little bit of agreeing with him, but the spending of clubs, the prices that clubs set, the prices of football nowadays means that families can't go to football. Their dads can't take their sons to football because they can't afford it. This is how it was before. Sons would be taken to football. Daughters would be taken to football. Kids will be taken to football. On a regular basis, now families are struggling to pay for electricity here. You know, like, it is getting bleak. So, of course, they're going to be pulled away from football as a whole. But it doesn't mean that they're not watching, at least on live TV. So that's something that I don't think is necessarily a big problem. Anyway.
Second, the current financial model in football is broken and unsustainable. Financial controls are inadequate and insufficiently enforced, leading to competitive imbalances and financial stress. Football must control spending and live from the revenues it generates, not from external capital injections.
This he has a point on. Let's be real, he has a point on this. There has to be some sort of cap. Some clubs, and I say this as a Chelsea fan, but there's too much spending to the point where it gets to a level like now where we're seeing salaries, mainly salaries, hit such a high that it means everything within the club now needs to lift its prices. Even though revenue comes in, profit comes in and whatnot, it gets even more. But they now have more leverage in order to set those high prices. Why? Because they're paying players ridiculous amounts. There's massive sponsorships. There's all this and the other. But if clubs had it where they could only get what they generate, right? And that's it. Not to do with injection, as he said, to do with what they are able to generate in revenue, in profit, and use that, then we've definitely got something to talk about. That relates back to the problem of why prices in football now are so high. Talking about going to a game, getting a season ticket, buying a shirt. Back in the day, it all used to be affordable, hence why there was massive interest. Now I can see why maybe young people, not necessarily, don't even have a choice. Their parents, their families just cannot afford. Unless if you're loaded. This is why we are saying football, it shouldn't be a rich man's sport. It should be a sport for all. It's heading in the same direction as a Formula One, as a tennis, as an etc., where it seems to just be normal people starting to get priced out. Now, if this is something that's going to solve that, we've got something to talk about. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Third, clubs should be sovereign and the master of their own destiny, since they bear all risks and all investments. Today, they are not allowed to freely organize themselves at European level. While almost every domestic league is run independently by clubs, governance of European club competition resides only with UEFA. Why? We are convinced that there is consensus among the European clubs that things cannot go on as they are now, and that we can do better. The right time for dialogue is now.
Right, so let me just be clear. He's saying this because he wants to take a dig at UEFA. There's nothing more to that. He's basically saying UEFA take all the decisions. Clubs don't have a say on the UEFA board like they do independently when they're talking with their domestic partners, like in England and in Germany and in France. You know, within the FA, within the Premier League and all that. Clubs have a voice. In UEFA, it's not. It's just UEFA. That's a dig at UEFA. He's basically saying if it was us, you'd all have a say at the table, right? So that's just to try and get clubs tempted and to say good things in order to raise some eyebrows, let's say.
A reform of a sport which is loved by millions must take into account a broad range of stakeholder opinions. European football deserves an honest and open dialogue about its future, free from threats of sanctions or exclusion from competition. Dialogue to me means listening first. Let's do what all football fans love to do right after watching the games. Let's discuss it for the good of the game. Thank you.
This is an interesting one. Is it for the good of the game or is it for the good of your pocket, Mr. CEO? You know, this is the thing. I have it in my gut that this is a scam to try and get these clubs to open up to the idea. Everything starts with the first step. Once you take the first step, they're a step closer to you. And you start, saying the right things, they're another step closer. And I just have a feeling that, yes, even though at the beginning it might seem like it would be where everyone remains in their domestic competitions, in their domestic leagues, but they replace UEFA competition with this, and then down the line, those clubs get sucked away, and there's a European Super League that we now can't do anything about because everyone's joined it, and everyone will be screwed at that point. That's where I feel like it's going. I didn't get the sentiment from that presentation by the CEO that it's to replace UEFA competition. I get the impression that it's to try and pluck out all these clubs to actually form a European Super League and get them out of everything that they're involved in. Because let's be honest, they can't compete in a league alongside their domestic league, right, with all the cup competitions, if it's a massive league. These players are not robots. They can't do it, right? Unless if you're all of a sudden going to try and branch out the amount of players in the squad and try and reform everything there. It doesn't seem like it's just trying to correct what UEFA have done wrong. It seems like they are actually trying to change football. And I don't like that. I don't like the sound of it. My gut isn't telling me that's a good thing. You want to reform what UEFA have done wrong? Cool. But you got to make that clear for the points I've already mentioned. But the red line is you touch domestic competition, you are out. Simple as that. Let's wait and see what happens. Let me know your thoughts down below on everything that you've heard today on this video presented by Mr. CEO. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what I've had to say. Love to hear all of your opinions on this, and start getting ready, boys and girls, because if it means that we've got to start getting onto the streets again, and if this is going to pluck up, then we're going to have to start mobilizing again, aren't we? We'll see what happens. It's going to get very interesting. But as I've already said, if people are familiar with the way that not just football, but the world is going in now, it's getting very... Globalization is a thing. It's a thing. Do your digging into it. You know things are heading into that direction. Football is no different. They're trying to plug football into that as well, where we're going to get to a stage by, I don't know, 2030 onwards, you know, where, it's just going to be the big clubs playing each other and the rest can screw themselves. No one wants that. No one wants that. The integrity of football, how it started, its roots, its format, everything that's there must be protected at all costs. If not, we will lose this sport once and for all. And we can't. So, let me know your thoughts down below. Much appreciated. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button if you've enjoyed this. I'll see you tomorrow for the preview to Chelsea versus Manchester United. You see how it has a charm? Because we don't play them every week, do we? Anyway, I'll see you then. Have a good one, people. See you tomorrow. Take care. And peace.